right. Hello, everybody. How's it going? This is a track breakdown, a production breakdown for my song New Year's Day. This is my first time doing this, so please forgive the improvisational nature of it. Um, but yeah, I'm just going to be basically going through how I wrote and produced and mixed this track. Um, I got a kind of loose structure here, so let's get into it. First thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna have a full listen through of the final master, and then we'll get into the breakdown.
Holding on to moments in the night. You turn and run from love you never had in life. If we go this far, would you stay with me? Hold on to my hand, never let me be. I'm asking for miracles, I'm asking for sunlight. I wanna know the light inside your heart. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Forever starts tonight. When January leaves it all behind. Forever starts tonight. And January leaves it all behind. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day.
All right, that was New Year's Day. That was the final master. Now, the first thing you might pick up on when we go through this breakdown is that the final master is actually in a higher pitch than the actual recording. So what I did is I just took the render of this whole track, and then I put it into a new project, and basically I just pitched it up like a half a semitone, or maybe one semitone. I actually just went by vibe. I don't know exactly how much I pitched it up by. But yeah, I pitched it up a little bit, and then I put some tape saturation. Because I'm really influenced by like 80s musicians. I was emulating a technique they did. That's some kind times called audio sweetening or Verispeed. Basically, when they would go and do the final master, when they would do the final master tape, they would speed up their recording just slightly. It would kind of give the track a little bit more energy. It'd pitch it up just a little bit. It'd make it a little bit faster. Um, so I wanted to emulate that with this track. So let's get into the breakdown of the production itself. I have a couple notes here. Okay, so the structure of the song is I usually like to do an intro with no vocals. That's typically how I start my songs. Sometimes I'll start with a chorus, but I like to start with um I usually start with choruses without vocals just to kind of get the chorus idea into the listener's head. And then after that little intro chorus thing, go into the first verse, then go into the first proper chorus. And what's interesting about this song in particular is that I did write a second verse to the song, but it kind of made the song feel a little bit too long. It just kind of seemed like it was dragging a little bit. So what I did is I just basically completely cut the second verse and just added this little breakdown here.
Forever starts tonight.
And then after the breakdown, I just go into the final chorus,
Why don't you stay?
which is metric. Is it metric modulation? No, it's just pitch modulation. Pitch modulated up one whole step into the final chorus, kind of emulating that 80s, like final chorus being one step higher, kind of feel. And then that's basically how I broke down the structure of the song itself. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to do a second verse, but it just made it sound way too long and way too boring, honestly. If I had a second verse in here, I don't think it'd be nearly as engaging. All right. So how did I write it exactly? So usually, I'll start off with a couple chords. I'm not very versed in theory, so what I'll usually do is I'll use this program called Captain Chords, and basically get the general chord breakdown, like B minor, D major, B minor, G major, A major. I believe that's actually for the pre-chorus here, but basically I'll get I'll get like the bass notes, BASE notes in, and then I just expand the chords in here, because I don't know how to write full lush chords. I just know the notes that I want, and then I just put them in here to help build out the chords themselves. Yeah, so that's basically the long and short of how I made the chords for that. Let's get into how I wrote the vocals, because I think that's a little bit more interesting than how I wrote the music itself. So usually when I record vocals, I'll do one pass. It's kind of like an improv pass. Basically, I'll just let the song play and just have like kind of write melodies with no actual words to them. So let's check out this scratch vocal track so you can kind of get what I mean.
Passing through as strangers in the night. What I'm doing, but I'm if we were mine all alone, wouldn't you want just want you, I just want tonight. But I don't want you, I just want tonight. Stay until the morning. Why don't you stay for tonight? Or we could stay until the morning. Oh, won't you stay for the night? Into my arms you'll fall in.
Yeah, so you get the gist of it. Sometimes I'll have like certain words that I feel fit in certain places, but very rarely will I have like the full lyrics written out before starting vocals. So yeah, that's usually my first pass. And then let's check out the demo vocals for when I actually had lyrics.
Holding on to moments in the night. You turn and run from love you never had in life. If we go this far, would you stay with me? Hold on to my hand, never let me be.
We'll skip to the last chorus here.
I'm asking for some. Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night?
Yeah, so those were the demo vocals with actual lyrics written after the scratch vocals. We can go ahead and collapse these. And yeah, that's basically how I wrote the vocals. Yeah, so now that we broke down how I wrote the song, let's go and break down how I like kind of produced and mixed everything. So let's start with the drums. So we're gonna go ahead and just mute everything else. And we'll mute everything else and then just kind of bring all the rest back in as we need it. All right, first we're going to start with the drums. Usually I will start with drums and melody when writing. So this is what the drums sound like.
Holding on to moments and
forgot to mute that. But yeah, as you can see, the percussion, the drums aren't super busy on this one. I wanted this to be a little bit of a slower song, and really have a lot of like air for the melody and the vocals. To kind of censor that. So the drums are pretty spare. The basics are this kick and snare. These are samples that I got off the internet. They're like synthwave samples. I use them in like almost every track. I love how they sound. They already have some reverb baked in. So I don't have to do much to them. Usually I'll have the kick and snare on separate tracks. But for this one, honestly, I was kind of lazy. And they're both on the same track. And I just kind of individually mixed their volumes so they fit well together. Usually I'd have them and process them separately. But It sounded fine with them being together, so I just kept it like that. And then also we have some toms here. Let's listen to that again. Yeah, again, those are from the same sample pack that I got the drum and bass from. Those are just toms from that sample pack. And then we add in, I believe this is a shaker. No, that's a hi-hat. That's a hi-hat. We add in the hi-hat, just give it a little bit more rhythm in the choruses. It gets taken out in the verses to kind of leave more air for the music and the vocals. And then finally, as far as drums and percussion go, we have a little tambourine sample that I got on Splice. Gives a little bit more motion. So yeah, without that shaker and that hi-hat, the chorus just kind of felt a little bit empty. Even though the point is of the song is to kind of feel empty, I wanted the choruses at least to have a little bit of motion, so it has good contrast with the verses, which are spare. All right. This track right here. I was messing around with Easy Drummer. I purchased Easy Drummer like halfway through making the song, and I wanted to incorporate it, but I just didn't. I didn't know how to use it quite right. I wrote some stuff in it. Let's check it out. Yeah, so I like full on programmed a lot of it, but I felt like the natural sounding drums along with the artificial drums just didn't sound quite right, or I just couldn't get it to work. But let's listen to it with Easy Drummer on. Yeah, I just couldn't quite figure out how to layer those in with the electronic drums. So I tried it and then just didn't work. So I just muted it. All right, coming in, these are the bass parts, I believe. So let's listen to those with the track. Yeah, so this first bass track is just to kind of give the second bass track is actually what I put in first, but I wanted a little bit more low end to the bass. So let's listen to that section with both basses on. Yeah, so you got your typical synthwave bass here, the arpeggiated bass. And so that other bass is mostly just fill out the low end. So let's listen to it without that low end and with the low end. And on. Yeah, it just kind of helps fill it out more. And next we have the main melody. So we'll check that out. I'll actually solo this guy. So that is from a plugin called Taluno 62. It basically emulates a Juno, which I love the sound of. I try to use a Juno in basically every song that I do, just because I just love the way it sounds. So I just have it on the electric piano preset, adding the chorus in. The chorus actually does a lot of the heavy lifting on how this synth sounds. Let's actually take off the chorus and the reverb here, and you'll see like just how different it sounds without those. And then adding the chorus in. Then adding the reverb in. Yeah, you just add some chorus and some good reverb, and you're golden. You got that 80s sound. As far as the reverb goes, I have a bad habit of using insert reverbs instead of send reverbs. It's just simpler, and especially for like this 80s kind of reverbed out music, I like using inserts instead of sends. So this is a reverb plugin called Crystalline from Baby Audio. Baby Audio makes such good plugins. I have it on the Endless Hall preset. I kind of just dialed in the dry wet signal until I liked it. And then yeah, instant 80s goodness there. And then basically I have a second synth here just to kind of layer in the upper ends. So let's solo that real quick. Yeah, it's just an octave up from the other one, just to kind of fill in the high end there. I'll A/B it with it on and off so you can hear the difference. No, yeah, it sounds completely different without that higher octave. It just sounds a lot more empty without it. And then next I have like some pad chords, just kind of fill out the rest of the space in the track. Like I said, this goes a long way to just kind of really filling out the rest of the space that I have. I'm gonna solo it right now. Here's it with it on, and then I'm gonna turn it off. Yeah, so it really goes a long way in filling out the extra space that I needed. As you can see here, I take it out, just kind of pull back everything, and I have the vocal habits turn in the spotlight as far as the mix goes. And then I reintroduce it here. Okay, next here, I have a Jupiter. I got this as part of the Arturia, what is it? Something collection. Basically, it has a bunch of really detailed models of like almost any 80s synth you can think of, including some 90s synths too. But this is a emulation of a Jupiter synth. I was just basically kind of playing around with all the presets. I found this preset that sounded pretty good. I thought the breakdown was a little bit empty, with it just being this, just the bass. But I didn't want to bring in this Juno sound back in again. So I was just kind of playing around with the Jupiter and all the presets until I found this preset, which sounds like this. Yeah, it just helps fill out that space in the breakdown. Let's listen to it all together. Yeah. Just helps get a little bit more interest in that second half of the breakdown, so it's not so monotonous. Let's see how I processed this guy. So let's take off all the processing. Let's just listen to the synth as it sounds in the plugin. And then we just add in some OTT, which gives a little bit more heft. And then we'll add in the reverb here. Yeah, when I want to add a reverb, but I'm not exactly sure like what reverb or delay I want to use. Honestly, I just got Valhalla Supermassive. By the way, Supermassive is free, and if you don't have it, you need to use it. It's probably one of the best free plugins you can ever get. It's so useful. It's a very unique reverb. Doesn't sound generic at all. And yeah, it's super powerful and free, so there's no reason not to get it. But yeah, when I don't know what the hell I want to do as far as the reverb goes, I just I just put on the Make Everything Better preset, just adjust the mix, and it usually sounds fucking phenomenal. So I got that, and then this last thing we have here is some EQ, basically taking out all the low end. To make room for the bass up here, dipping its frequency right here, just because it was a little bit annoying without it. So let's A/B that. Yeah, all right. Let me take a sip of water. My voice is really fucking dry. I don't talk this much usually. All right. So next here we have this little guy from Omnisphere. This just adds a little bit of interest in the verse sections. So let's check that out. Yeah, it just adds a little bit of interest to the verse sections. It makes a little melodic hook in there. So let's listen to the mix with it in it. Yeah, just adds a little bit more interest. And that doesn't really come back in until the final chorus, just to kind of get that final chorus a big, like, kind of grand feeling with all the layers kind of coming in. So we'll listen to how it sounds in the final chorus. Yeah, and that's just basically the same thing as it was earlier, just pitched up a whole step to match the key of the final chorus. Let's get into the processing for this guy. So I'll just keep looping this guy here. Let me get the loop bracket here. Right. Yeah, we'll just keep looping this guy. So this is what it sounds like with no processing. Yeah, so the first thing I did, I added Tal Chorus LX. This is a standalone chorus plugin. This guy is also free. This emulates just the chorus module of the Juno. Like I said, the Junos might be my favorite synth of all time. I love the chorus on it. So if I want to put chorus on something, I'll usually just use the Juno chorus because I love the way it sounds. So I'll A/B how that sounds. Yeah, just makes it a little bit more interesting, adds that chorus effect in. So at first for the sound, I had Valhalla Supermassive reverb on it. But then I tried out, I'll actually just let you hear what it sounds with the Valhalla reverb. It sounds perfectly fine. But I found this new plugin, also free. It's called Temperance Light. Basically, this is a reverb that will kind of tune the reverb itself into whatever key you want. So let's just look at it in action. Yeah, as you can see, it's kind of tuning the reverb into the key of the song, which sounds really good, especially in like kind of a flavor synth like this that's not being played constantly. It's just kind of like a little interesting thing. I think it sounds really great. So let's play it with it on and off. Yeah, I just love the way that sounded. So, yeah, I replaced the Valhalla reverb with the Temperance Light. This isn't something I'd go to all the time. It can create some resonant peaks that can be kind of annoying depending on the context. But the way it sounded on this synth in particular, I loved. So that's something I'll definitely I'll be looking into using in the future. And then finally, we just have some EQ, taking out basically everything under 500, and then boosting the like 10K plus a bunch just to give it the kind of the airiness. Yeah, I'll A/B that as well. Off. Yeah, it just makes it sound a lot brighter, a lot more airy. Yeah. And I did the same processing for that synth in the final verse. Next, we have the only sound effect I really have in this production. Usually, I like to have a lot more ear candy in my production. I'm super influenced by pop music. Obviously, I make pop music, but I like to have a lot of ear candy in my songs. But for this one, I wanted it to be kind of spare. So the only like sound effects I really have is this guy that kind of transitions between the intro and the intro chorus, and then the verse chorus, and then from the first half of the last verse to the second half of the last verse. So we'll listen to how it sounds solo. Yeah, just kind of a nice little kind of transition sound there. I don't even have any processing on it. It's just that with some reverb sends. So let's listen to it in the context of the mix. Yeah, just kind of gives it some flavor. To let you know that we're transitioning into a new section. And usually I'd use it to transition to the final chorus, but because the contrast between how like quiet the breakdown and the chorus is, I feel like it didn't really fit too well. So what I did instead is I used it to transition from the first half of the final chorus to second half, where I have this extra layer in, and I think it kind of helps transition to the new burst of energy in that final chorus. So let's listen to that. Yeah, so that's the breakdown for the music itself. What did I forget to cover? Oh yeah, the drum tracks have some sends to them. They're sending to this reverb and delay that's a default in Ableton. Usually, when you create a new track, these sends are there by default. I like using them a lot. They're pretty handy if you just want some simple delays and reverbs. I also have a third send of Vintage Verb, which has a synth hall, and I used that send on these toms here. Yeah, you can hear that big boomy reverb in there. Let's listen one more time. Yeah, so that's kind of layered in there with the toms. All right. Second thing, next thing we're going to move on to is the vocals. Usually, I like having big layered vocals, but again, they didn't. I didn't really feel like they really needed them for this guy. For this song, it's pretty spare sounding song. I wanted it to sound big and airy, so having a bunch of layers just feel like it didn't fit very well. So let's listen to the vocals.
holding on to moments in the night. You turn and run from love you never had in life. If we go this far, would you stay with me? Hold on to my hand, never let me be. If we go this far.
Yeah, so that's how the vocals sound. My main chain for processing vocals is basically the same in every single song. I have this little chain here that I use on basically every song. I got it from Reed Stefan, who's a YouTuber. It's called Lead Vocal Sauce. It basically condenses everything down to about 8 different dials. Has a de-esser, some EQ rolling off the low end and having a little dip in the mids here, a compressor, OTT, which is basically the special sauce for vocals. The vocals sound completely different without that OTT. And then some parallel compression, delays, reverbs. So let's listen to how it sounds without that chain, because like the chain does so much.
Holding on to moments in the night. Turn and run from love you never had in life.
Yeah, it just like sounds completely dull and lifeless without that chain. However, before that chain, this is usually what I'll use. Obviously, first in the chain is Melodyne, just to get some manual tuning in there. I fucking hate Melodyne so goddamn much. Every time you open Melodyne, it just decides to open the browser with the Melodyne website up there. I don't know why. I don't know how to turn it off, and it's super annoying. But Melodyne is useful for doing pitch correction. So yeah, this is my Melodyne session. Basically, I just use it to nudge some off notes in the right direction. After the Melodyne, I have a gate here just to. I don't have a perfectly treated studio. I do record in my bedroom, so I try to clamp down on the background noise as much as possible. My computer is like right next to my microphone, so a lot of that fan noise gets picked up. So that's basically to eliminate that. Then we got some auto tune here, set at 20. This is just to kind of give it the little final polish. Obviously, most of the tuning was done in Melodyne, so it doesn't sound too terribly different with the auto-tune on versus off, but it kind of just gives it that little poppy final sheen. And then let's get to this this chain here. I want to show you especially how big of a difference that OTT makes. So I'm going to turn off the parallel compression and the OTT. Let you listen to that there.
Holding on to moments in the night. You turn and run from love you never had in life.
All right. Yeah, so it's already sounding good with the compression and the EQ on there. But really the parallel compression and the OTT is like what really takes it over the top. That's why it's called OTT, over the top. So I'm gonna turn on the parallel compression, and then after that I'm gonna turn on the OTT. You can really see how much of a difference that OTT makes.
Holding on to moments in the night. You turn and run from love you never had.
And then OTT.
If we go this far, would you stay with me?
it's practically night and day. I'll actually just loop it on the same thing so you can really get a sense of it.
Holding on to moments in the night.
And then with it on,
holding on to moments in the night.
I mean, it's quite literally magic. I used to have such a tough time trying to make vocals sounded like I wanted to. And then, like, literally as soon as I got this vocal chain and started using OTT, I was like, oh my god, this is like the magic sauce that actually makes the vocals sound like pop vocals. Like, obviously I can do vocals in like rock styles or whatever, but to have that like pop sheen, OTT is basically what I was missing. And then as soon as I started using it, I was like, oh shit, this is what I was looking for the whole time. So OTT really is like the backbone of my vocal processing chain. And then last thing I'll show you guys is for this final chorus here. So basically the same processing with a little bit of difference. And before I even get into processing, I'm going to show you a little cheat here. This vocal take, it's literally the same vocals as the first chorus. I tried tracking vocals for this second chorus with the key modulation, and it just didn't sound as good when I was tracking it. This song is already like pretty high up in my range, so going up that extra step, I tried and kept doing a bunch of takes, and it just didn't sound as good as just taking the first take and then pitching up one step. I think you can even see it here. Yeah, I literally just pitched this take up by 2 semitones, and then it sounds fine. So let's get to the processing. So for the final chorus, I obviously wanted the vocals to sound a little bit bigger. So what I did... why can't you hear that? That's very annoying. Yeah, so for the final chorus, basically the only difference is that I have a doubler plugin on here just to kind of give it a little bit more thickness, because it's the final chorus. It needs to sound bigger. So I'll play it with it on and off. Yeah, so that doubler just basically gives that that final chorus vocal a little bit more thickness. And that's almost I'm almost done with the breakdown. It's a pretty simple song. But what I'll show you is my final kind of like way to glue the vocals to the music. So what I'll do is I'll actually just group all of the instrumentals into one group called music, all the vocals into one group called vocals. And obviously I'll do a little bit of EQ on the vocals. There was a little bit of annoying resonance here, so I just took that out. But the main way I make the vocals glued to the music is I put some EQ on the main music track and sidechain the vocals into it. So that way you can see it in real time here. It kind of ducks down this this frequency range here, so that way the vocals fill out the music without any clashing. I mean, it's pretty basic parallel EQ, some sidechain EQ, but it really does go a long way in having the vocals fit in with the music. So I'll turn that off and on again.
Why don't you stay for the night? Why don't you stay until the morning? We could make a new beginning here on New Year's Day. Why don't you stay for the night?
Yeah, it really goes a long way in making the vocals glue in with the music. All right, and then the last thing I'll show you guys is the master chain. I am not good at mastering whatsoever. I'm still learning a lot, but I have started to experiment. And I think this is pretty good. I usually use Ozone, and just kind of put on the preset and just leave it alone, and it sounds like 80% there. I don't have Ozone right now, so I just kind of try to make my own master chain and try to make this as loud as possible. So what I did first is I used a simple gain EQ just to kind of give it just a little bit more juice coming into the master chain. And then the first thing is EQ, kind of boosting the mids to give the vocals a little bit more presence. Laying off these bass frequencies just a little bit. I don't like my mixes to be too boomy, so just laying off the bass frequencies there. Also, my voice right now is coming through the master chain, so that's why you're hearing this go like this. And then I have some highs boosted a little bit, just to get a little bit of bit more air, a little bit more chime. And then I have this mastering chain. It's a default Ableton mastering chain, just called multi-band and limiter. It helps kind of give the EQ a little flatter response. Also, so some compression and limiting to help make this shit as loud as possible. And then after that, I have RC20 retro color on the VHS setting. I basically turn everything pretty low except for this wobble meter here, and then I have the master, like the master fader, pretty low as well. This is just to give the final mix just a little bit of vintageness. Gives it a little bit of, as you can see here, just a little bit of wow and flutter, just to kind of give it that like that old school tape sound, or like a vinyl sound. And then I have another limiter here. I don't know if this is proper technique, but trying to max out this limiter here in this chain made it sound weird and distorted. So I kind of backed off this limiter a little bit and added a second limiter, and I don't know why. Like I said again, I'm not a master at mastering, but adding a second limiter instead of maxing out that first limiter really helped with the distortion with trying to make the track as loud as possible. So yeah, I don't know what the technique is for that, but yeah, that's how I made it loud. So let's actually just listen to this first chorus, and then I'll turn off most of my mastering chain. Yeah, I'll turn off most of my mastering chain, then slowly turn it on bit by bit so you can kind of get a feel for what everything's doing.
Your heart
So we'll start here. And yeah, that's my mastering chain. That's basically all I wanted to show you guys. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve on these production breakdowns in the future, please let me know. If there's anything in particular that you wanted to see, I'd be more than happy to like take that feedback into the next production breakdown. I plan to do these breakdowns within a few weeks of every song that I release, just to kind of give you guys an insight on how I make everything. I know with the advent of like AI music and shit now, authentic music is a hot commodity, and I think a lot of people want to know the work that actually goes into making music. So if I can like release production breakdowns on everything that I make, maybe it'll inspire somebody to make their own music and make it a little bit more approachable. But yeah, thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. Let me know how you liked it, and I'll see you next time I release a track. Thank you very much. Peace.